Let's take a look at how to set up categories or tabs or pages, whatever we're looking at here, in both Symbaloo and Pinterest. Let's start with Symbaloo. We really do want to set up categories in our bookmarking program like this. And the reason is, Feedly is the fire hose, and all the stuff comes in and just kind of piles up and piles up and piles up. If I want to go back later and find a particular article, it's seriously the needle in a haystack problem. There's just too much there. So what I want to do is I want to be watching for articles that involve certain topics, and when I find one, I want to drop it into Symbaloo, or as they say, Pinterest, in a categorized area so I can find it. Let's start off with Symbaloo. In Symbaloo, the different categories are shown as tabs on the top of the screen. You've got your home web mix, which is, well, you can see I've got a lot of stuff in here that I read on a daily basis. And then I've created some tabs. This one is for personal and professional networks. You might notice that I started the word out with network, and the reason was because I wanted to be able to tell it from personal and professional learning communities, and the tab on Symbaloo only shows just this many letters. So I've got one for personal learning networks, and I've got one for personal and professional learning communities, leadership, fierce and adaptive, and now I need one for decision making. So I'm going to click on the plus here, and I'm going to call it decision making. It could involve psychology, it could involve brain research, you can call it whatever you need to, and I'm just going to click add. And so now I've got my fourth tab. Okay, so how do I get things into here? Well, the easiest way is to use a bookmarklet, and I have a Symbaloo bookmarklet right up here. Okay, you notice it says add the current page to Symbaloo. Your question might be, how did I get that? Well, down here is a little thing that says bookmarker, and if I click on that, it will take me to a page that talks about the Symbaloo bookmarker, and all you have to do is download the correct one for the browser you're using. So here's one for Firefox, which I could download. Here's one for Chrome. Here's one for Safari. Notice that we don't have Explorer, but you don't want to use that anyway. And you simply download the appropriate one for the browser that you want to use to access this. And once you do, it'll put this little tag up here. So how do we use this? Well, let's suppose we go out and find an article. I'm going to go into Feedly, and I'm just going to flip up an article here. And I'm going to click preview. Now, I will tell you this. If you're previewing it within Feedly, and if you try to bookmark this, what it'll grab is it'll grab Feedly, because that's what's showing up here in the address bar. If you actually want to keep this article, what you need to do is you need to go up here and choose Open in a new tab. When that happens, notice you get the actual address of the article. I can then go over here, click on this. It's going to call it this. I'm okay with that. This is the symbol it's going to use, and I'm going to create my bookmark. Now, you might wonder, where did it go? I know it went into Symbaloo, but, well, let's take a look. Notice that I don't see anything. That's because I need to refresh my screen. So I'll go up here and click refresh, and sure enough, here's that tile that I just created, and if I click on that tile, up will come the article that I just downloaded. What Symbaloo does is it will drop that tile under whatever tab is open at that time. So if I had had networks open at this time, it would have dropped it under network. Next question might be, well, what do I do if I get it in the wrong category? No problem. All you do is click on it, grab it. If I want to put this under network, I just go up and release it under network, and it's in network. I go in there, sure enough, here it is. Okay, let's look at that again. Let's go into, let's see, where's something here. Let's do the Blue Skunk blog. Okay. Again, my problem is here is that even though the whole thing is displayed within the Feedly feed, the address up here is still that for Feedly. If I want to actually grab this article, I'm going to need to preview it. I'm going to need to open it in a new tab. It'll come up where I want it. I can now click. It's untitled. That surprises me. Make it blue. Create my bookmark. Okay. Go back into Feedly. Update. There it is. Okay. So it's as easy as finding an article and just clicking on the link to drop it in there. And then, as I say, if you need to go in and move them around, it's not hard. You just grab them and put them up to the tab you want them to go under, and they'll go in there. And in that way, you can start grabbing articles and you can start putting them under personal and professional networks, under personal and professional learning communities, under leadership, adaptive and fierce, and under decision making and psychology and hemisphericity and all of that good stuff. And you can put the articles where they belong, and you can start building a set of tiles in each of these areas. Okay. Suppose I don't want to use Symbaloo. Suppose I say, I'd rather use Pinterest for this. Okay, not a problem. Okay, I'm into Pinterest, and I can go over here and I can show my boards. And in Pinterest, you have a choice of public boards and secret boards. So I've got a couple public boards up here, but down here, I've got a secret board. And notice that I've called it Professional Learning Communities. Okay, I could come over and create a second board, and I could call it Professional Learning Networks. Well, close. Networks. I could add a description. Right now it's set to be a secret board, which means nobody will see it but me. That's totally up to you. I'm going to create the board. Let's go back here and let's create another board. I'm going to call this one Adaptive and Fierce Leadership. Create my board. Okay, back out again. And I'll create a fourth board, and I'm going to call this, and I could do psychology, brain-based, whatever. Okay, and I'm going to create that board. Okay, so I've got lots of boards out here. Okay? I've got boards for decision making, I've got boards for professional learning communities and networks, and you can see all this. Okay, great. Let's suppose that I want to have a bookmarklet similar to what I had in Symbaloo to use for Pinterest. Well, you can. That's actually what's here. However, the Pinterest one is a little harder to find. What you need to do is you need to go to this address, about.pinterest.com/goodies. And on that page, if you scroll down, it'll say the Pin It button. And it'll say download it now. It automatically knows what browser you're using, and it will bring up the Pin It button for the browser you're using. So, for example, if I were in Safari, it would say Safari here instead of Firefox. But it knows. Okay, you click it, you download it, you install it, and then you get a little button that looks like this. So let's try the same process. I'm going to go back into Feedly. I'm going to grab another article here. Let's just get this one. Okay, I'll bring it up so I can read it. Sounds good. I want to keep it. I need to open it in a new tab so I can get the actual address for it. I'll come over here to my Pinterest symbol and I'll click Pin on Pinterest. And I can use, what it does is it says, do you want to use this picture? Do you want to use this picture? I like this one, so I'm going to pin this one. Now, one thing that Pinterest does is it asks you which of the boards you want to put it on. So I actually get a choice here. So this particular one, let's suppose I want to put it on Adaptive and Fierce Leadership. I can simply choose that and say pin it. And it has put it there. Okay? And it's also pinned to something else, but I really don't care about that. It's just I wanted to make sure that it got there. Let's go look at another one. I'm going to go back into Feedly, and let me go to, let's say, this category, and let's pull this one. This is another one that shows up fully within Feedly. So in order to be able to grab it, I have to get the address. So I'm going to hit a preview, open a new app. Here's my address. Bang, hit the Pinterest button. I can pick whichever picture I want here. I'm going to grab this one. Bingo, it says where do you want it. I say, okay, adaptive fierce leadership, that works okay. I'll hit pin it. It'll pin it. Now, let's go up here, look at my boards, and what I'll find is that anything that I have dropped onto a board, I will have it pinned on the board. And so I can go through and with this little symbol for Pinterest, or if I'm working in Symbaloo, this little symbol for Symbaloo, I can quickly grab articles, drop them onto my page, put them in the category I need, and then when I want to find articles relating to a certain particular topic, I can go in and do it. Unlike Feedly, where setting up very small detailed categories is not necessarily productive, going into a bookmarking site like either Symbaloo or Pinterest, it makes complete sense to set up a very narrow category and then select articles and blog posts and videos and whatever else you find that seem to fit in that area, and then simply use the bookmarklet to drop it in where you need it.